I've seen Wilhelm Sasnal's works for a great many years in different places, but I was very struck when the first time I went to Poland. I went to Warsaw, to Krakow, and suddenly having an experience of the plays gave me a completely different perspective on his work. So I went to see him in Krakow, we had conversations, and that really made me appreciate much more where this work really comes from and what it is being driven by, and how strongly it relates to a place, even though it isn't confined by this. This exhibition brings together more than 70 paintings from 2000 until 2011. It really sets out to trace a journey through Wilhelm Sasnal's work and to show how his entire oeuvre creates one big project.
Of course, I feel very comfortable when I can lock the doors of my studio and I know that the painting is done. But on the other hand, I cannot stay indifferent for the reality what is around me. Exhibiting and showing them in the gallery room, combining them, putting them together is also the painting.
The exhibition responds to the architecture of the Whitechapel Gallery. It's purposefully open in its structure. Wilhelm very nicely came up with this metaphor. It functions a little bit like a flipper, like a pinball machine, where you go from one work to the next to create a network of connections. Sometimes these connections are formal, sometimes they are driven by the content, but the web gets denser and denser the more you go from one work to the next.
It's always harder to work in the big space. I mean, it's much more complex and it's more demanding. Of course, the outcome may be more satisfying. What counts at the end is the exhibition. But of course, I consider how the viewer can see and associate the works together.
All the work is representative, all the paintings contain stories, but the question is, of course, the form that Wilhelm gives to these. It has this extraordinary stylistic diversity, and it veers from what may look like pop realism to abstraction. In fact, even though there is this diversity, one has a sense, one can recognize what his particular language and quality is. Seen together, Sasnal's work really traces the complexity of a 21st century existence, so it relates as much to the present moment, but also to the past and how the past informs the present. Some of the work may relate to a revisionist account of the history of Poland in the Second World War, questions of collaboration in the Holocaust, relationship between Poles and Jews, and what it means, how you present yourself or position yourself as a young person vis-à-vis that history. But it can also be a private family moment, a moment where he suddenly looks at his son and has an intense personal connection, or indeed contemporary politics. There are issues touched upon as Palestine, nuclear energy, the tsunami in Japan, issues that seem to dominate the world for a particular moment, but then very quickly disappear. Only he captures that moment by fixing it in a painting.